Good morning, Gator Nation. How we doing everywhere worldwide? I'm Dylan Denmark. That is Graham Marsh on this episode of Denmark and Marsh as the Florida Gators go into Tuscaloosa, Alabama and get another huge quad win road victory. Graham, I kind of expected the game to go Alabama to get at least a first half lead and then to take the lead at halftime, and then I expected it to be a battle once it came to the second half. This game was back and forth the entire time, and then the middle of that second half, when Walter Clayton wasn't in the game, Alabama went through a little dry spell, and Alberdeen hit a huge three. They made a couple big shots, and they took a
Alberdeen?
What is that? What I said?
Alberdeen? Aberdeen.
Aberdeen.
There ain't no L in there, my boy.
Thank you. I rolled out of bed not even 5 minutes ago. And Florida takes a 7-point lead, and it seems like they held that lead from then on. The really only difference in the box score was Florida out-rebounded Alabama to a pretty big margin. But everything else was the same. The field goal percentage, the free throw percentage. Florida made their free throws late, and Florida goes in there and gets another huge victory last night.
They wanted the game more. Florida wanted the basketball game more. You can tell the way you tell in basketball who wants the game more. In football, the way you tell is the more physical team is the team that wants it more, right? In basketball, the way you tell who wants it more is loose balls, 50-50 balls. Who is the team that seems to be coming up with more? There's some where it just kind of bounces your way and you get lucky, but balls where you truly got to fight in a ball where if you're not trying that hard, it's the other team's ball. But if you're giving 100%, then it becomes a tie-up in a 50-50 possession arrow. Or if it's a 50-50 ball, you're the one that's diving on the ground for it. You're the one that's fighting that extra bit for it. You're the one that if you go up for a rebound and it kind of tips around, you've got another teammate also crashing the glass, so they're more likely right there to catch it and steal your possession. That is when the Gators are at their best. That's the type of team they are. Kind of a Todd Golden staple as being one of the best rebounding teams in the country, and they certainly have been that way this year. I'll tell you what, Dylan, and we missed this with him being out since he's been back. He's not the best offensive player they got. He's not their most skilled guy. He's not going to be the guy that the broadcast talks about most of the game. But Micah Handlockton has this way of just making every loose ball his. It's not just that he's tall. I mean, he's a tree, so obviously he gets a lot of rebounds. But every tipped pass, every loose ball, he's just a magnet for the ball when it's coming off the glass. So they've got this knack to always get the ball. And you could tell the entire game they wanted it more. Those effort plays all went the Gators' way pretty much the entire night. And they kept Alabama's three-point shooting in check for the most part. At the end of the game, they started really getting hot to kind of close the gap some, but they never really let Grant Nelson get going at all. I know he was questionable before the game. Mark Sears had a good game, but it wasn't like, oh my God, we can't guard this guy. And Florida's just better. They're just a better basketball team most of the game. And I think they're a better team in general.
Yeah, Florida, you talk about the effort. The steals were about the same. Florida had more blocks, 5-2. Fast break points, 22-10. Florida's advantage over Alabama. And then the offensive rebounds was the biggest stat that jumped, or the rebounds in general, 50-35 over Alabama. Offensive rebounds, especially 16-10. And you talked about Micah Handlockton. You know, in football, you can have an impact, but not really be shown in the box score. Because if you're, for instance, a D lineman and you're the interior, you can disrupt plays, whether it be bringing pressure to the quarterback or, forcing the running back to bounce outside for someone else to make a play. Handlockton only had 2 points last night. But his presence, along with everybody else, I mean, you look at the box score, only 3 guys reached double-digit points. Alex Condon had 27, which was career high for him. Walter Clayton gets 22, and then everybody else gets, Hall gets 12, and Hanlock gets 2. Elijah Martin, who missed some time he wearing through the A gap and took a shoulder to the face, missed some time. He got 10. And, was it last week? I can't remember if it was last week or the previous time we spoke, and I was talking about free throws being an issue. They cleaned up their free throws, and they didn't have a slow start. So the two biggest issues that Florida had going into the game did not affect them last night.
Correct. And I think the couple of games, it hasn't been a bunch of games, but there's been a few games throughout the season where Florida's shown up and their focus just wasn't there, and it shows up on the free throw line. We talked about this last week, I think. You can tell right away if Florida's mentally not in the game, if the first, 3 to 4 trips to the foul line, they're 1 for 2, 0 for 2. And guys that normally, in guards especially, guys that normally make their free throws, I'm not talking about Chinyelu or those guys, and even though those guys are actually decent free throw shooters, but, if Walter Clayton, goes and misses 2 at the line, it's all right, he's mentally not what he normally is tonight. But that's been few and far between this season. For the most part, they've honestly been fine there. And Dylan, if we can, I don't know if I can on my phone here, but our man, do you see that? No, yeah. I don't think. Can you show our man Dustin Clyde's comment from Facebook real quick? Our man Dustin Clyde says, I think they should be projected as the 4th number 1 seed for the NCAA tournament right now. Dustin Clyde, you are correct, sir. You are the winner. Florida Gator basketball, 1 seed, 1 seed, 1 seed. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They got to take care of business against Ole Miss on Saturday. Ole Miss is a good team. They just beat Tennessee. That is a good basketball team. It's senior night. It's going to be senior day for the Gators. Last home game for Walter Clayton and Will Richard and those boys. So they got to take care of business. I think they should, but they need to. Beyond that, man, the SEC tournament should be gravy. They're going to have the double bye, which is awesome. They'll probably need to win 1 SEC tournament game, I think. Beyond that, this team is a 1 seed, man. This team is a 1 seed. And for I'm sorry. I'm going to get on a little soapbox here, Dylan. I'm sorry. You got me on a soapbox. I'm here. For Jay Billis to get up on his high horse last night, Mr. Duke himself on the broadcast talking about, well, Florida's non-conference really wasn't that good. I don't know if you can make them a 1 seed. Shut up. I don't care about a non-conference when I play in the best conference in America by a mile. And I'm dominating in it. Auburn was finished ranked 1st in the SEC, correct?
Yup.
Who beat them at their place, Dylan? Can you remind me?
Florida did.
The Florida. Okay, that's right. Alabama, really good basketball team. Probably going to be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Who beat them last night?
Florida.
Okay, Tennessee, one of the other best SEC teams. Florida lost them in Knoxville and on the road, I understand. Who also beat them by 30 in Gainesville? The University of Florida.
And Florida beat them. They won by 30 and lost by 20, so we're better than by 10 points. That's how
I mean, come on, bro. This team is a 1 seed. And someone tries to tell you everyone listening, because I assume you're all Gator fans. If anybody listening tries to tell you the Florida Gators are not a 1 seed, tell that person they are stupid today.
Is there a world where you don't see them getting a 1 seed?
Yes, there is a world where I see them not getting a 1 seed. I believe, look, Florida has 2 national championships in basketball. Florida has a decent history in basketball, Billy Donovan and all that. This logo does not do it for national college basketball guys. It doesn't. This logo, it does it for us, but this logo is not. It's not a Kentucky logo. It's not a Duke logo. It's not a Kansas logo. Now, I think today, if Selection Sunday were today, I believe they would get that 1 seed. I believe they would be the 4th 1 seed. I believe you'd have Duke, you'd have Auburn, Houston, and Florida. I'm just saying, Gator fans, myself, Dylan, everybody else listening, just be prepared before Florida gets screwed, it ends up being that 2 seed. Dylan, you're saying, is there a world? Yes, there's a world. And it wouldn't. I don't think it's going to be because as a result of what Florida's done on the court. I think it's going to be that somebody else is going to get prioritized because of the stupid non-conference narrative. It's ridiculous. I'm sick of this non-conference thing.
This is Charles Barkley said this one time. I forget what he was referencing, but Florida, their non-conference, they beat North Carolina and they beat Virginia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Any other year in the past 10 years, that'd be 2 really, really good wins, probably against the best conference of basketball.
Yeah.
Well, it's not our fault that they suck.
No, it's not. Correct. Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not like, in college football forever where you can schedule your non-conference and then, where some teams stack up and, that you're going to schedule this cupcake when you're going to schedule a weak ACC team or a weak, team out west. Like, North Carolina doesn't happen to be good this year. Like, they're on the bubble of, I think, making the tournament, or they're barely in there. I don't even know where Virginia stacks up. But I was looking at, I don't know if you've looked at the quad 1 wins from everybody in the country. So this is what Auburn's won. Auburn has by far and away the most quad 1 wins. And then Florida is like not there in the top 5, which is really weird considering the resume that they've had. I just wonder if they're going to use that against Florida's favor when it comes to being a 1 seed. And I don't really know. I mean, does it really matter if you're a 1 seed or a 2 seed at this point?
No, I think it's more kind of the status of it. I will say, I mean, we say that. Look, 2 seeds make it to and win the national championship all the time. So, no, to answer your question. However, a 16 has only beaten a 1 in the first round, I believe, twice ever. A 15 has beaten a 2 a lot. So, and I'm not saying Florida's going to lose in the first round. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying there's a little bit of a difference, I think, in terms of the swagger, the confidence, the expectations you carry yourself with. I do think that can fluctuate a little bit. At the end of the day, Dylan, no. It's more just the principle of it. It's more this team has earned a 1 seed. Like, look, cool. Other teams might have had a better non-conference. But since conference play started in early January, they haven't played even close to as hard of a schedule as Duke has not played anywhere near what Florida has played since January 4th. Not even close. Not even on the same stratosphere. But no one's talking about their conference schedule.
Well, Duke gets that pass because of what you just talked about.
Right. Of course. And it's more so, Dylan, my whole point in this whole thing is if this logo I'm wearing on my hat right now was a Kansas Jayhawk or was a North Carolina Tar Heel or was the UK for Kentucky, it would be no discussion. It would be, okay, Auburn's got the best resume in the country. I think everybody pretty much agrees with that. Auburn's got the best resume in the country, and then Florida's probably 2. Carnell Bell says, I'm ready for football. LOL. Carnell, we got so much time to talk about football, bro. This basketball team can legitimately win a national title, and you're up in here saying I'm ready for football. Carnell, come on, man.
Yeah.
I like your comments, bro. Dude, I love when you're in the chat. What are we talking about? I'm ready for football.
The other day we had DJ Lagway eating croissants with the RG3. We probably won't have time to get to that. Yeah, spring ball is right here, by the way. It's like they're gonna be playing the orange and blue game within the span of a month. But yeah, we'll talk ball. We'll talk football next week. But I mean, the basketball team. I mean, it's the main thing. Keep the main thing the main thing.
I mean, bro, this is legitimately a national championship contender. Like, not to say contender. Like, at this point, I would say you almost like expect Florida to be in the Elite Eight or Final Four.
Yeah, Hack and I were having this conversation the other day. He goes, shouldn't they make the Sweet 16 and like be content? I'm like, if you're one of the best teams in the country, you have to make at minimum the Elite Eight. I mean, if you are one of the best teams in the country, you can't make the Sweet 16 and be content with that, regardless of what kind of program you are, how often you've been there, and what the history is of your program.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when you're a high seed, when you're like a 1 or 2 seed, because you're going to have a relatively easy path up until the Sweet 16. Or the Sweet 16 or Elite Eight is going to be the first time, in theory, that you're going to play a team that's any good.
Yeah. So
especially again, when you've gone look, and let's talk about the losses too, because these are also teams Florida has had to play since SEC. So I mean, Missouri is going to be a tournament team, and I think they're going to make some noise. Missouri's good. Just beat Alabama on the road last night. You beat the number 1 team in the country with the best resume. Everyone agrees, Auburn, on the road. Okay, I know Auburn just lost, so Duke might end up being number 1, but whatever. You beat Tennessee by 30 at home. You had to play Tennessee on the road. You lost, but you had to play them on the road. You had to play Kentucky on the road. I mean, these are all games that these other teams have not had to play, man. Like, I mean, I don't understand. Like, you cannot sit here and argue non-conference. Don't give me November and December when I can give you January and February.
Yeah, and I don't understand why, like, the team you are now heading into the tournament doesn't hold more weight than what you did back in December.
It should. It certainly should.
I mean, within the past, since February 1st, and everybody's talking about since conference play, but really the last month, who's really played better basketball that you could argue than Florida?
I know.
And if you're going to put teams in front of them, that list is less than 3 teams.
Yeah, I totally agree. Dylan, I appreciate you putting up our man Ken's Facebook comment. These boys got that chemistry like Noah and the boys. Because my soapbox is over. I'm good with complaining about being the 1 seed and 2 seed, whatever. Everybody knows where I stand. Everybody knows where you stand, and I think everybody kind of stands in the same direction on that, which is great. But to Ken's point, can we talk about how good this basketball team is, Dylan? Can we just talk about how much fun they are to watch? Dylan, I want your opinion on this because I love basketball.
You do?
Even when they're not that good, I watch Gator basketball. I watch every dribble. I watch the NBA. Like I like basketball a lot. You're not as much of a basketball guy as I am, so I feel like you're a more kind of just like I'm not calling you a casual, but like casual viewer of the sport, if you will, like just in general. You get what I'm saying when I say that. Like, do you feel that same excitement watching this team?
Yes. Not even. This team plays fast. They don't have a weakness on their team, man. Like, that's the biggest thing that jumps out to me. And it was in the middle of that second half where there was at one point they had 2 dunks. I think it was 10, 12 minutes left in that second half when Walter Clayton wasn't on the floor. And, dude, they were taking their anger out of the rim. I was like, whoa. Like, it felt a little different. The amount of times that you have an alley-oop to Alex Condon. And here's another thing that we hit on a little bit last week that's not getting enough credit. Dude, you went through a lot of injuries this last month or so, and then now everybody's playing at the same time now, and it hasn't affected them. And it's very easy to mess up.
Yeah.
With their minutes use and what lineups do you use, and it hasn't affected them at all. That's been the biggest thing for me.
Something I noticed last night before the game, like when they came out there, is they rolled with when people were healthy before all the injuries happened. Florida rolled with last night what their starting lineup was then, which I thought was the correct game plan. You had Clayton, Richard, Martin, Chinyelu, and Condon. And then coming off the bench was Aberdeen, Hauk, Klavzar, and Hanlockton. First of all 4 of those guys I just said that are coming off the bench, they can all play big minutes in significant moments. They all can. And they're all capable of contributing a lot in the tournament. So that's the first thing. Very, very, very few teams in March are going to have 4 guys coming off the bench and they can play 9 deep like that. That's insane. Secondly, I don't really know how the voting and stuff works because he started a lot of the games, so he might not totally qualify, or I'm not totally sure how that works. But if Thomas Houck qualifies for 6th man of the year, he is the 6th man of the year in college basketball, and it's not even close. I mean, I know he's not starting because it kind of the rotation and stuff, it kind of just makes more sense for him to come off the bench the way it is. But make no mistake, he's one of Florida's very best players.
100%.
He is unbelievable. I would say Clayton, Condon, and then Houck is probably 3. I mean, he's unbelievable. We talked earlier about loose balls. Thomas Houck doesn't know what a 50-50 ball is. They're just all his. And he's always been really, really athletic and a good defender and can go up and dunk and all that. Man, he started to stroke it from 3. And he's got a nice first step. So he's got guys have to come up and respect his shot now. And he can blow by guys.
He's done that a lot lately.
Oh, my God. Once he started hitting threes, man, it unlocked something in them offensively because it's not just him shooting. It's like I was just saying, like him being able to create that extra floor spacing and then drive. And then when he drives, I mean, he's really smart when he drives, and he's able to kick if he needs to, get it back out to Walter Clayton or Elijah Martin or Will Richard for an easy 3, lob it up to Condon, go dunk it himself, get fouled. Like that 3-point shot, creating that extra space for him, it unlocks it. Florida they were an 8 offensively. Now they're a 10 because of him shooting, and it's just any given night, man, somebody can go crazy. Last night it was Alex Condon, and they're so deep. It's like you always know it's going to be somebody's night.
Yeah,
and when Florida's got 1 or 2 guys that are on, there ain't many teams that can beat them.
No, I mean, really, in their lineup that goes 8 or 9 deep, the only real offensive weakness, and they haven't asked him ever to play and get buckets, is Chinyalu. Is that correct?
Like the only guy they haven't said, "Here's the ball, go."
Yeah, like you got to get 15 tonight, like that those kind of guys.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's really because Houck is so good offensively when he comes off the bench, and then obviously, I mean, Condon's an NBA center. Maybe not. He won't play center, but he's an NBA player. So they really haven't had to. But if you look at Chinyalu, man, when he does get around the rim, he's got really nice touch. I mean, when he gets up close to the basket and he's 1-on-1, and he does that little turnaround pop shot, he makes it most of the time. But yes, to your point, like he's one of the few guys where they really haven't ever had to say, "All right, ISO, go." I mean, that's not really his game. But I mean, he gives you 8 to 10.
Yeah, most definitely does. So, all right, Ole Miss Saturday. What time is that game on Saturday?
Good question. I saw it. Somebody in the chat tell us what time the Ole Miss game is. I looked it up earlier and I forgot. So I don't remember.
6 o'clock. Dude, these games, Florida is on the SEC Network like every game. It makes no sense.
I know.
I guess this will be the last one. So you play.
I will say, if it means I don't have to listen to Jay Billis talk, it's a win. I'm sorry, man. I'm not normally I like most broadcasters and like I'm not this broadcast sucks guy. I can't stand Jay Billis, dude. He's so Duke. He talks and he just exudes Duke. And it's just gross. I don't like it.
I'm glad I'm at work and I don't hear any commentary. The game's on mute, and I just watch ball. And I'm like, is that a foul? Oh, no, it's a travel. Is that a foul? No, it's goaltending. Yeah, that's how I watch games.
Charles in the chat said, "Who said Walter Clayton wasn't a point guard?" I did earlier in the season. I was wrong. Hand up. I mean, this dude. Point guard, shooting guard, don't matter. Walter Clayton's going to give you buckets on your head. So the only time last night, the only thing, and luckily it didn't come back to bite him. If it had been 1 or 2 possessions closer, it could have been an issue. Did you see early in the first half, Dylan, when Walter Clayton takes it up half court and he does the little like behind
Yes,
pass to Will Richard and he wasn't ready? I'm like, guys, like, come on. But Charles, to your point, saying who said Walter Clayton was the point guard? I did. That was a concern of mine. That was wrong. That was dumb. This is an idiot. I was wrong. It don't matter what he's playing. He's gonna put 25 on your head.
All right. We got to hit the road and do our thing. We appreciate everybody for hopping in. Man, like and subscribe and tell a friend to tell a friend about what just went on today. Gator basketball should be a number 1 seed. We all know it. Will it happen? We'll know in a week and a half.
Dylan,
Selection Sunday.
I want to try to make you say something controversial.
About?
I want to make bullets.
About the baseball team?
I want to make you real famous. All right, gun to your head. Right here. Gun to your head. When the NCAA tournament is over, Florida will have done what?
Made the Final Four.
In losing the Final Four?
I'd say at minimum that they make the Final Four.
Who do they lose to in the Final Four?
I see Florida going out to another SEC team. If I had to shake it
like Auburn?
now, it'd be Auburn. I'd say Auburn or Tennessee. One of those two.
If Florida loses to Tennessee in the Final Four, you won't hear from me for a while because I will go into depression hibernation mode. Auburn, I'll live with Auburn. I'll mind Auburn, but I hate Tennessee with everything I have.
Yeah, and Tennessee lost last night, by the way, too. Forgot to mention that.
Hell yeah. That's the other big part of the 1 seed talk because Tennessee was ranked 4 and Florida was ranked 5 going into last night. That was a big, big, big loss for Tennessee.
Yeah. So
because Ole Miss is good. They're a good team. They're 9-7 in conference. Or sorry, they're 10-7 now because they won. But they're not a world beater. So that was not a great loss for Tennessee. They needed.
Sucks for them. Couldn't be us. So, all right, Graham. Nice.
So you didn't give me a gun to my
head. Graham, gun to your head. I'm from the west side. That's how I hold my gun sideways. What's Florida doing in the tournament?
The Florida Gators are winning the national championship.
All right, that'll do it. See y'all next time.